Welcome to the cinematic universe. We are back with another Haikyuu recap. Previously, Karasuno defeated the powerful Inarizaki High after an intense 3-set battle, earning a place in the third round of nationals. That victory set up the long-awaited Battle at the Garbage Dump, where Karasuno finally faces its longtime rival, Nekoma, in an official match. Here's everything that happens in this unforgettable showdown. Kenma Kozume gets lost in an unfamiliar neighborhood and realizes his phone battery has died. With no way to contact anyone, he decides to sit down and pass the time by playing games on his handheld console. A little later, Shoyo Hinata notices him and starts a conversation after seeing his volleyball shoes. They introduce themselves, and Hinata asks if Kenma likes volleyball. Kenma says he feels pretty neutral about it. He doesn't like getting tired or sweaty, and the main reason he keeps playing is because one of his close friends loves the sport. He even says he probably won't stay involved with volleyball after high school. On the morning of the third day of nationals, Kenma is still sleepy when Yamamoto wakes him up. After getting ready, he receives a text from Hinata saying he's excited for their match. Kuroo notices who Kenma is texting and jokes that Hinata is probably looking forward to facing Kenma more than anyone else. Meanwhile, Hinata is about to go on a morning run with Kageyama when he gets Kenma's reply. He feels like Kenma isn't too worried about the match, but that only makes Hinata more determined. He plans to give everything he has against Kenma and the rest of Nekoma. Before the match starts, Coach Nekomata and assistant coach Naoi take a moment to appreciate that Nekoma and Karasuno are finally meeting in an official tournament match. It has been a long time coming. Karasuno's coaches, Ukai and Takeda, greet Nekomata, and Ukai confidently says Karasuno has become much stronger. Nekomata happily accepts the challenge. When the captains meet, Kuroo jokes about the punishment laps Karasuno had to run during training camp. Daichi responds by giving Kuroo a very firm handshake. In the stands, Mika asks Suguru if he's cheering for Nekoma, but he quickly says he only wants to see them lose. As both teams get ready, their supporters cheer from the stands. Yamamoto tries to get Kenma more excited, but Coach Nekomata can tell Kenma is already focused. Instead of showing emotion, he's quietly thinking about every possible way Nekoma can beat Karasuno. Even then, Kenma admits he isn't sure they have an advantage. Kuroo quickly brings everyone together for the team's usual pre-match chant. The starting players take their places and the match begins. Former Karasuno coach Ike Ukai watches the game from his hospital room and proudly tells everyone that the current Karasuno coach is his grandson. Although he wishes he could be there in person, he's happy to watch the match on television. Coach Keishin Ukai also thinks about how many people helped Karasuno reach this point. Kageyama starts the match with the first serve. Kai receives it, and Kenma sets the ball to Lev, whose spike is dug by Nishinoya. Karasuno quickly attacks through Asahi, but Yaku makes a strong receive despite being knocked off his feet. The ball returns to Karasuno, and Tanaka's spike is saved by Yamamoto, leading to a joust between Hinata and Lev. The rally continues as both players chase after the ball. As Hinata gets ready to attack, he remembers Kenma once saying that a real match would be much more interesting than a practice game. Hinata spikes the ball and scores the first point after Kenma fails to receive it. Hearing Hinata say they're finally playing the one match that can't be replayed makes Kenma smile. The story then flashes back to the previous evening, when Nekoma was reviewing Karasuno's match against Inarizaki. Kenma notices that Hinata no longer rushes forward as often as before. Kuroo realizes Karasuno has improved the way they use Hinata's quick attack, making him an even better decoy. Yaku says that Karasuno has grown a lot since they last met, and Fukunaga reminds everyone that Nekoma has improved as well. Karasuno is surprised when Nekoma uses a synchronized attack with multiple hitters moving at once. They recover quickly, and Tsukishima manages to get a touch on Kai's spike. Hinata keeps the ball in play, allowing Karasuno to answer with their own synchronized attack. Kuroo correctly reads the play and moves into position to block Daichi. As Hinata rotates off the court, Sugawara is impressed that Kuroo could predict where Kageyama would set the ball. Hinata agrees and says Kuroo is one of the best blockers Karasuno has faced. He also reminds everyone that Kuroo helped Tsukishima improve his blocking. At the net, Kuroo jokes with Tsukishima and even gives him a quick reminder about proper hand placement while blocking. With the score tied at 7-7, Lev serves. The ball clips the top of the net, but Hinata still receives it. Daichi scores by hitting past a double block. Lev makes the next receive. The ball drifts toward the net, and both Hinata and Kuroo race for it. Kuroo reaches it first and gently taps it over. Nishinoya steps in with a libero set to Asahi. Asahi spikes the ball off the blocker's state hands to score. Yaku praises Nishinoya, saying he keeps improving every time they play against each other. After another Karasuno point, Tsukishima returns to the court. Sugawara encourages him not to let Kuroo outshine him. Tsukishima calmly replies that he knows he can't beat Kuroo by himself and says he'll need Yamaguchi's help. Yamaguchi then serves a jump float that Yamamoto can't control, giving Karasuno a service ace. On his next serve, Kai uses an overhand receive to stop the float serve. Even so, Tsukishima notices that Nekoma's formation is messy and only 2 players are ready to attack. Remembering Kuroo's advice about blocking technique, Tsukishima stuffs Fukunaga's spike for another point. He and Yamaguchi celebrate with a rare high five. Meanwhile, Yaku jokingly kicks Kuroo and blames him for helping Tsukishima become a better blocker. Before the next rally, Kuroo asks Tsukishima if he likes volleyball now. Tsukishima admits that, thanks to everyone around him, he actually has fun playing sometimes. Yamaguchi serves again, but this time Nekoma handles it well, and Kai finishes the rally with a spike. Yamamoto serves and Tanaka receives. The ball almost goes over the net, and Kageyama gets there first and uses one hand to set Hinata. Nekoma keeps the rally alive, but Asahi eventually scores after beating Kai to the ball. Hinata serves next, and after another long rally, Kageyama sets Asahi again. Asahi's powerful spike is too much for Yaku to handle, and Karasuno wins the point. Coach Nekomata notices that both teams are clearly enjoying the challenge of facing a strong opponent. The only exception is Kenma, who stays focused on finding a way to slow Karasuno down. As the score reaches 20-17 in Karasuno's favor, Suguru explains that Nekoma often spends the first set studying their opponents before making adjustments. Even while doing that, they're still keeping the score close. During another rally, Lev and Kageyama battle at the net. Kuroo hopes Lev's height and strength will help him win, but Kageyama comes out on top. Yamamoto saves the ball, but it heads out of bounds. To everyone's surprise, Kenma runs after it and manages to set it back to Lev, who finishes the attack. Yamamoto praises Kenma and jokingly says he did better than Kageyama. Kenma disagrees, saying Kageyama is much more skilled because of how hard he works. Even so, Kenma admits he enjoys being part of such fast and unpredictable rallies. With the score at 20-21, Kenma uses a short serve. Hinata receives it cleanly and secretly hopes Kageyama will praise him, but instead Kageyama immediately sets the ball to Tanaka, who scores. After the point, Kageyama tells Hinata to stop expecting compliments for doing his job. The set stays close as both teams trade points. At 25-25, neither side can break away. During a long rally, Kenma gets the ball for Nekoma's final touch. It looks like he's about to score with a setter dump, so Tsukishima and Asahi jump to block him. At the last second, Kenma switches hands and turns it into a set instead. Because the blockers reached over too early, they're called for a blocking foul. Nekoma wins the point and reaches set point. Kai serves next. Karasuno keeps the rally alive and answers with a synchronized attack. After several exchanges, Kenma sends the ball toward Karasuno's side instead of making a normal set. Kageyama moves forward, expecting to set the next play, and the rest of Karasuno adjusts with him. That movement leaves an open space on the court, and the ball drops there untouched. Nekoma wins the first set. Everyone watching is surprised, and many realize Kenma intentionally used Karasuno's movement against them. As the teams switch sides, the story briefly returns to the time when Kenma first met Hinata. Kuroo had found the two talking and was surprised to hear Kenma chatting with someone he had just met. Kenma had told Hinata that although Nekoma wasn't as strong as it used to be, he thought the current team was really good. Before leaving, Kenma told Hinata they would meet again soon. Kuroo later joked that it was unusual for Kenma to talk so much with a stranger. Back in the present, Bokuto and Akashi wonder if Kenma's clever play has affected Karasuno more than anyone realizes. Kenma then reminds his teammates that Nekoma doesn't rely on powerful serves or spikes. Their strength is limiting the other team's chances to score. He knows Hinata will eventually score points, but Nekoma's goal is to keep those opportunities to a minimum. The second set begins with Fukunaga serving. Hinata receives the ball, and Sugawara notices that Nekoma is trying to stop Karasuno's quick attack by forcing Hinata into the first touch. Even so, Hinata quickly gets into position, runs around Kageyama, and scores past Lev. Tanaka praises him, while Kenma realizes Kageyama didn't need to use Hinata on that play but chose to anyway to send a message. Kenma smiles and tells Hinata to keep surprising him, which leaves Hinata feeling both confused and motivated. As the match continues, Yachi starts worrying that Karasuno might lose. Bokuto notices and tells her not to think too far ahead. Instead, he encourages her to focus on the match happening right in front of her. Elsewhere, Goshiki and Tendo watch the game from Shira Torizawa. Tendo comments that Nekoma is an excellent team and admits he wouldn't want to play against them. He also points out that while Karasuno is having trouble scoring, they're still fighting back in ways that aren't obvious. Later, Nishinoya makes another good receive, allowing Karasuno to launch another synchronized attack. Tanaka finishes the play with a spike, and the team celebrates. Asahi and Tanaka are so tired that they jokingly ask if they're already in the 5th set. Hinata and Kageyama remind them they're still only in the early part of the 2nd set. On the other side, Lev says he hates dealing with Karasuno's synchronized attacks. Kenma agrees they're difficult to handle, but he also knows both teams are slowly getting tired as the match goes on. Early in the set, Hinata runs in for another quick attack with Lev chasing him. He tries to hit the ball off the block, but misses and sends it out of bounds. Lev proudly thinks Hinata was scared to challenge him, but both Kenma and Kageyama quickly tell their teammates to stay focused. With Karasuno leading 15-12, Lev blocks one of Hinata's attacks. It becomes clear that this was part of Kenma's plan. During the break, Lev asks how Kenma knew Hinata would attack there. Kenma explains that Hinata has been playing differently in this match, so he predicted where the attack would come from. On Karasuno's side, Nishinoya realizes what Nekoma is doing. He explains that Nekoma is forcing him to receive certain balls, which blocks Hinata's usual running path and makes it harder for him to use his quick attacks. Kenma tells his own team the same thing, adding that if Hinata keeps getting stopped, he'll eventually become frustrated and make mistakes. After the timeout, Coach Ukai gives Kageyama a few final words before play resumes. Fukunaga serves, and once again Hinata receives the ball. He quickly moves into position to attack, but Kageyama chooses to set Asahi instead, who scores. As the game continues, Hinata spends his entire front row rotation without getting many chances to attack. By the time he rotates to the bench, he's so frustrated that his teammates have to remind him it's time to return to the court. Sugawara also comes in for Tsukishima and encourages everyone to stay positive. Sugawara tricks Lev with a fake before setting Kageyama for an attack. Nekoma keeps the rally going, and Kenma sends a short ball back to Karasuno. Hinata dives to receive it, but he's now out of position for an attack. Tanaka spikes, Yaku digs it, and the rally continues. As Hinata tries to run in again, he slips on sweat left on the floor. He can't reach the attack in time, and Lev blocks Asahi to give Nekoma the lead. While the court is being cleaned, Kuroo notices that Kenma doesn't look excited even though his plan is working. Kageyama wonders if it's worth the risk of setting Hinata again. Hinata remembers being told that he wasn't much of a threat without Kageyama, but he refuses to give up. He realizes Kenma has successfully limited his attacks and starts thinking about how to beat it. On the next rally, Fukunaga's serve clips the net, and Hinata receives it. Kenma thinks this might finally be the moment Hinata loses confidence. Instead, Kageyama tells Hinata to jump as high as he can. Kageyama sends him a high set, giving Hinata enough time for a full approach. Hinata jumps higher than before and spikes over Nekoma's triple block to score. Everyone notices the impressive jump, but Kenma is the most surprised. He realizes Hinata has already found a way to adjust to his strategy, and Coach Nekomata is pleased to see Kenma being challenged. After Kageyama serves out, Kai is replaced by Inuoka. Kenma warns Lev and Inuoka that Hinata can stay in the air longer than expected, so they need to time their blocks carefully. On the next attack, Lev jumps too early, but Inuoka recovers and gets a touch on the ball. The rally continues, and Hinata gets another chance. This time, he uses Lev's hands for a successful blockout. Karasuno eventually reaches set point. During the final rally, both teams use synchronized attacks, but neither can score right away. Yamamoto finally spikes for Nekoma, but Hinata receives the ball. The impact sends it back over the net, where it lands in an empty spot on Nekoma's court. Karasuno wins the second set and levels the match. On Nekoma's side, Akane is especially worried because the team that wins the second set often carries that momentum into the final set. She's also concerned because Hinata has finally found a way around Kenma's plan to limit his attacks. Elisa does her best to cheer her up. As both teams get ready for the deciding set, Lev confidently says he'll score 20 points. Kuroo smiles and tells him to focus on scoring 1 point at a time instead. Kei then notices Yamamoto has gone quiet and encourages him to play with his usual energy while praising one of his earlier spikes. Kenma comments that Kuroo has become much more talkative over the years. This leads into a memory from their childhood. Back then, Kuroo used to teach Kenma the basics of volleyball, including how to receive the ball. Kenma once suggested that Kuroo should find someone better to practice with because he wasn't very good. Even at a young age, Kuroo was already good at receiving. After watching older kids practice spiking, Kenma suggested Kuroo try it too. Kuroo wanted to, but he felt it would be difficult because he wasn't very tall yet. Coach Nekomata overheard them and suggested lowering the net so younger players could enjoy learning new skills. Kuroo gave it a try and kept practicing until he successfully landed a spike. That experience gave him more confidence, and he gradually became more outgoing. He often invited Kenma to play volleyball and watch recorded matches together. One day, after seeing Kenma get excited over a clever play in a professional match, Kuroo suggested he become a setter. He joked that setters hardly had to move and mostly relied on strategy. Another time, Kenma's father asked Kuroo to invite Kenma to play soccer more often. Kuroo replied that he would, but he knew Kenma only enjoyed activities that genuinely interested him. Back in the present, Kenma tells Kuroo that if Kuroo had always acted like an overly energetic person, he probably never would have started playing volleyball with him. Kuroo is surprised, but he's happy when Kenma admits he enjoys feeling like he belongs on the team. Kuroo gathers everyone together and reminds them to make all their hard work count. Karasuno also huddles up, and both teams step onto the court for the deciding set. The final set begins with both sides trading points. As they play, many of the players think back on the long history between Karasuno and Nekoma and everything that led to this match. During one rally, Tsukishima scores by hitting past Lev, giving Karasuno another point. Later, with Karasuno still leading, Hinata's spike nearly hits Kenma in the face, but he barely manages to keep the ball in play. Kenma quickly knocks it back down. Tanaka can't reach it in time, and Nekoma wins the point. Seeing Kenma smile after the play, Yamamoto remembers asking whether Hinata was Kenma's rival. Kenma had simply replied that they were just friends. As Inuoka switches places with Kei, Coach Nekomata tells reserve setter Tetsuro to get ready to substitute for Lev when needed. When Tetsuro enters the court, he realizes Kenma will stay as the main setter for the rest of the match, even though he's clearly exhausted. Tetsuro starts with a ceiling serve, but Karasuno handles it. During the rally, Fukunaga makes an impressive save, and the ball heads toward Kenma. For a moment, Kenma isn't sure what to do, but when he sees Kuroo in position, he calmly sets the ball to him. The rally continues, and Hinata attacks against 3 blockers. Instead of spiking, he suddenly tips the ball over them. Kenma reads the play and rushes forward, but he moves too far and can't reach the ball. After the point, he drops to the floor, worn out from the long match. Kuroo checks on him, and Kenma quietly admits that he's having a lot of fun. Everyone nearby is surprised, especially Hinata, who is happy to hear Kenma finally enjoying volleyball. As the final set goes on, both teams continue trading points. Kenma realizes the excitement he feels is similar to reaching the final boss in a video game. You don't want the battle to end. Eventually, Karasuno reaches match point, and every player is running on pure determination. In one rally, Lev accidentally bumps into Kenma while blocking and knocks him over. Even so, Kenma tells Lev to keep the rally going. Although he's completely exhausted and struggling to breathe, he still doesn't want the match to end. A little later, Kei passes the ball to Kenma for another set, but when the ball touches his hands, it slips because of the sweat on his palms and falls to the floor. The point ends the match, and Karasuno wins. Both teams are too tired for a big celebration. Kuroo checks on Kenma, who thanks him for introducing him to volleyball and says he truly enjoyed the game. Kuroo laughs, happy to hear it. After the final whistle, the players shake hands and thank each other for a great match. Coach Nekomata also thanks his team for everything they gave, and many of the Nekoma players become emotional. As they leave the court, Yaku and Kei reflect on their final match together. Before parting, Hinata asks Kenma for a rematch next year, and Kageyama quickly joins in. Kenma smiles and agrees. In the closing scene, Kamomedai wins its own match. Hoshiumi then approaches Hinata and challenges him, saying their upcoming match will decide who the real little giant is. This is where the story ends for now. If you want to see what happens next, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any updates from us. See you in the next one. Cheers!